The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody, and throughout this spring semester, we will be checking in with the University of Nebraska President, Dr. Jeffrey Gold, for updates and happenings from the president's office and across campus, and we are excited for his first visit of the spring here tonight. President Gold, thank you so much for being here with us, and we have to start with going back to the Husker football win in the Pinstripe Bowl. First appearance in a bowl game since 2016. You were there inside Yankee Stadium. How exciting was it for you to get to experience it, and what did that win mean to Husker Nation?
Well, it obviously meant an awful lot to Husker Nation, but it meant a great deal to me as well because, as the audience probably knows, I lived and worked in New York City for a really long time. And not only did I grow up there most of my youth, but I've been a dyed-in-the-wool Yankee fan through good and bad for all those years. So to be with the team, it was a 6-day event, believe it or not, with all kinds of rallies and dinners. Got to ring the bell on the New York Stock Exchange. But I will tell you, the opportunity to stand on the grass of Yankee Stadium and to watch the team win was absolutely amazing. And, I spent a good deal of time with Coach Rule and members of the team. As a matter of fact, I went with several team members to Memorial Sloan Kettering Hospital, and we gave gifts out to kiddos who were being treated for cancer in one of the largest pediatric cancer centers in the country. And to spend all that time, I got to see a side of them that is far more than what the average fan sees on the gridiron, on Saturdays every fall. Very impressive on every possible level.
You could tell how much it meant to Coach Rule to take that group and spend some time in New York City, and they all seem so appreciative to get to take it all in. Some of them the first time getting to see the city. Well,
not only the first time getting to see the city, but the first time for several of them out on their own in a large metropolitan area, because typically, they travel with the team, they play the game, and then right back to Lincoln. And of course, this was extra special for Matt and his family because he grew up in New York as well. And so, we were talking restaurants, museums, all kinds of stuff that, were part of our youth that really came together. It was a really exciting win, and of course, a win is a win, which is to have a winning season really sets the stage for the future, produces confidence, and Husker Nation, it's transformative.
Great stuff. Well, Nebraska's legislative session began this month. How is the University of Nebraska engaging with the state leaders to drive meaningful change?
Well, we're engaged with the legislators and the governor's office, mayors, city councils, etc., 12 months a year, 24 hours a day, it seems like. But it is unquestionably more intense during the legislative session, and it's even more intense during a long session when the biennial budget for the state and for the university is determined. So our goal, and my job specifically, is just to be open and transparent, to communicate what the university does, what our value proposition is, and frankly, what we need. We go through a very meticulous process every year where the Board of Regents looks at our budget, and we present the statistics on what our needs are, what the inflationary changes are, what our costs are, what we wish to invest in, and then in August of the biennial year, the Board of Regents approves that ask. It then goes to the Coordinating Commission of Public Higher Education, and they then review it, debate it. I get to testify before the CCPE, and then they echo it, and that came up with a 3.5% ask for this year, which is interestingly almost exactly equal to the inflation rate. The CPI was reported just about a month ago at about 3.1%. We asked for 3.5%. We were told to ask for 3% for salaries and benefits and 0.5% for health care, which is what we did. And so that's what we've been communicating with the members of the unicameral legislature and the governor.
Well, certainly the University of Nebraska is a major driver in the state's economy. Can you talk about the scale of that impact?
Yeah, the community really understands that we are a major educator and work on the development of future workforce for the state. They understand that we do research in science, and they also understand through our extension offices, healthcare, and other areas that we engage literally border to border in the state, every small and large community. But what they may not understand is the economic impact of all of that. And we are a major force in the economy of the state. So just the academic part of the university is approximately $6.4 billion of economic impact a year. That means we return $10 for every dollar that is appropriated to the university. A pretty darn good investment on a yearly basis if you could get it in any other way. But if you add in our health care delivery, mostly through Nebraska Medicine, that brings our total economic impact up to about $12 billion. That's $12 billion a year of resources that are brought into the state. One of the largest employers in the state of, well over 70,000 direct, indirect, and induced jobs in the state. And so, we do educate the next generation of workforce. We do a tremendous amount of research. Actually, last year was measured by the end of 2024 at just over $660 million of research, ranked 55th in the country, by the way. I'm so proud of that number. But we also are very important to the economic prosperity of the state of Nebraska.
Can you tell us how the Presidential Scholars Program is helping Nebraska retain the top talent in this state?
Really excited to talk about that because we're in the second year. We're just, coming up to the first anniversary of the now two generations of young women and young men. So these are scholarships and, by the way, full cost of tuition programs that pay for not only tuition and fees, room and board, plus a $5,000 annual spending allowance that goes to students currently that have a perfect 36 ACT score and are, of course, Nebraskans, right? And so going into this year, we had 47 students, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, who qualified for it, and we paid them accordingly, which is very deserved. But this year, we've had approximately 33, 34, maybe even as many as 35 perfect ACT students apply to the university. And were that not enough, we're actually looking at students now that have a score between 32 and 35. Not quite perfect, but well up there in the stratosphere of ACT scores, and seeing what we can do to offer them that same kind of package. Now, it's unclear to me how many of those students are going to actually matriculate in the fall, but I'll tell you, having met dozens of them myself, having gone to high schools and participated in the award ceremonies, there's a plaque that we give each of these perfect ACT students in front of their families and colleagues, and by the way, school superintendents and principals. I was just out in Kearney, Nebraska. Wow, what a magnificent new high school that they have. And the young man who had a perfect ACT, truly remarkable student, wants to go to engineering school, then wants to go to med school, and unquestionably a future Husker.
You tapping into the recruiting? You asking some advice from the recruiting staff to help when you're recruiting some of these kids?
Well, I'm asking advice from anybody that I can get. I'm asking advice from the recruiting staff for the athletic program, but they're asking me to meet families and future Husker athletes as well. And I've, to quote our volleyball coach, John Cook, I'm still batting 1,000.
Oh, that's great. Well, you are 6 months into the role. How are you feeling about what you've been able to accomplish so far and what the future is to bring?
Well, it's hard to believe that it's been just over 6 months, and I'm now actually in my 12th year here as a Nebraskan by choice, and I am so proud of that and having a good time. As I've crisscrossed the state, I am reminded every day, literally every day that I'm here, about how much people appreciate what the university does. They all have a story about a child or a grandchild or a cousin that had a unique experience. Some of them played football for us, others went to medical school, but all different types of experiences. And then I hear about not only the lives that have been changed, but the lives that have been saved through our healthcare programs, for some of our programs we do with the law school and things of that nature, that reach out to communities that depend upon our services. You know, we're putting a lot of effort now into our extension programs to ask the question of what does rural farming and ranching extension look like in the future? How are we going to set the standard, define the future of what extension means? I've been meeting with the extension boards and with the ag builders and the Ag 40 and others, and they have great ideas. And we're synthesizing all of that into our planning work.
Awesome. As always, chatting with you. Appreciate all you're doing for the university and for spending some time with us here on Sports Nightly.
Always a pleasure. Look forward to next time.
Again, appreciate University of Nebraska President Dr. Jeffrey Gold spending some time with us here tonight on Sports Nightly. We've got to step aside for a break. We're back with more coming up after this.